Hey everybody, it's Patty from Art Out of Anything, and today I have just a fun little activity to do for no reason whatsoever. Sometimes at Art Out of Anything, we use repurposed materials. We try and use things that are in recycling, things that we turn into other things, because why should we add to our waste problem? And also, doing things like that really makes you think outside the box. It helps with your critical thinking skills, and it challenges you to come up with new solutions, right, for things. And sometimes I like to do that just for fun, just to figure out what I can do with something. So one of my favorite places in the world, the dollar spot at Target, they had little bags of these amazing reward erasers. And I believe they were $1. Yes, they are. They're $1 for these little bags. There's 60 in each bag, and they come in all different kind of themes. They have of course, there's a lot of summer themes. There's like ocean animals and rainbows and unicorns, and there's also shapes, and there's also what I have, which are stars. And they come in different colors: green, red, yellow, orange, blue, and purple. Really pretty, as you can see. They are rubber, they are erasers apparently, but I'm not going to use them as erasers. I'm going to use them as something else. And also, I got this little package here of foam shapes, which are exactly what they're called, foam shapes. And this was also $1. And how many are in here? 12. There's 12 shapes. So there's an octagon, circle, star, triangle, and square. So what I did was I made this very interesting. Don't even know what it is, but it's kind of cool and it feels really good. So once I'm done, I'm going to tell you what my ideas were about this. But I created this little circle, and the reason why I bought these erasers was because when I looked at them, they reminded me of mosaics. They reminded me of little pieces that fit together. And I wanted to see if I could make a mosaic using the erasers. And that's what I kind of did over here, right? I'm going to put it up close so you can see. And I did it really quickly, so it's not perfect, but it's trial and error. So really, I'm just trying things out right now. So what I wanted to do was just create a little mosaic of the stars. And I'm sure many of you know what mosaics are, but those of you that don't, mosaics are pictures that you create with broken up pieces of pottery. It can be paper, it can be tile, it can be all different kinds of things, and you put it together to create a picture. You use grout in between the tile or the porcelain or whatever it is that you're using, just like the kind of grout that you use in your bathroom, to make it all fit together, right? So I also use something else that I use a lot in my artwork is old DVDs and CDs, and I break them up. So you can see here I started breaking one up already. I cut them and break them up, and I use them as mosaic pieces also to make mosaics, right, or to fill in spaces in mixed media pieces. So I'm going to show you how I made this funny little thing, whatever this is here, just for the sake of making it. And I'm using hot glue, I'm using a little glitter, and I'm using these little erasers and one of the shapes from the foam shapes that I have. But you can use anything, really. You can use an old coaster, you can use a piece of tile, you can use a piece of cardboard, you can use a CD. You can use anything you like to be the base that you're going to start your mosaic on, okay? And our mosaic is not going to be a picture of anything. It's just going to be some really interesting colors or patterns. And that really depends on you, on whatever you want to make. Now, this is not a project that a child should be making on their own because it is using hot glue. So I would say definitely an adult would have to help them with the hot glue at the very least. Or if you're just an adult and you want to do it, you can do it too. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get our pieces glued on to our surface, right? And this is really cool, these shapes. I just noticed this. One side has a texture and one side is smooth. So I'm going to glue them on the smooth side because I have an idea for what this can work for when we're done. Okay, so I'm going to just tilt this down. There we go, my workspace. So I'm going to just dump out some of these stars. And I thought the stars would be easier because I thought they would fit in to each other a little closer, so there would be less space in between them. Not really the case, but that's okay. Now I'm just putting these down anywhere I want to start. This is where you can get as complicated or as simple as you like. You can design your mosaic piece by drawing your shapes and how you want them to all fit together. You can just put them in randomly wherever you like as you go along. You can decide that you are going to make a pattern of colors. It can be all the same color. It can be complementary colors next to each other. It can be contrasting colors next to each other. You can have your own challenge to say, okay, well, how about no two colors, none of the same two colors will be next to each other, right? That's going to be a little hard because you have a limited number of colors to choose from, at least in this package. So all of those things, you can make it as interesting or as simple as you like, okay? So as you can see, I'm just kind of fitting them into each other. Sometimes they fit really well, sometimes they don't. That's okay, not a big deal, because I'm just kind of playing with it to see, and sometimes it's kind of nice just to sort of like play with things and see what happens when you're trying to make them fit together or trying to fix something. See, here's a strange little spot right there. Okay, so as with all mosaics, they do not fit exactly, up against each other. They're going to have, there's going to be some space between everything, right? And that's the space that you usually put your grout into. When you're doing mosaics, you have a glue that you use to glue the pieces onto your surface. Sometimes I think you can also use grout to get them onto your surface as well. So sometimes your grout will be the same as your glue, right? Or still, I've used silicone too, actually. I'm going to put these kind of like on the outskirts here, out of my shape too, and you'll see what happens with that when we're done. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can fit one more on here. Why not? Okay. All right, so there's my sort of strange little mosaic, right, that I did. Okay, there we go. So we're all glued down. So now I'm going to put, and of course you can add more here to, make it bigger, whatever you like. Let's try and do that. Let's try and get a couple more on here so that we cover it all up, cover our shape, or at least most of our shape up. That's okay. I think that's fine. That'll be all right. So now we have all of our tiles, as it were, down, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the hot glue as my grout, and I'm going to make it a little sparkly. So I'm going to start with this big open space right here. This is really kind of too big of an open space. I shouldn't have left that. I should have fitted them in better. But this is live zooming right now, and I don't have a really good editing program, so it is what it is. But anyway, so there's the idea. And so I'm filling in all of these spaces with the glue. And as I fill them in, I put some glitter in there. You can put sand too if you have it, glitter, anything like that. You could leave the plain glue as well. Looks kind of cool when it's clear. Looks like there's nothing there, but of course we know the glue's there, and it kind of feels good too. It's kind of a smooth texture. Oh, there's another little spot in here. Try and fill up as many spots as you can, right? Because that's what we would do if we were doing a mosaic. We would fill in all the grout. We'd actually put it on top, spread it out on top of the tiles, and then wipe off the excess when we're doing actual mosaics with tile or porcelain. That's what we would do. And now maybe, let me see if I can make, the great thing about hot glue is that it is three-dimensional, so you can actually create a whole other level here on this end and cover that with glitter. Let's see what happens with that. That looks kind of interesting, right? Let me see if I can go a little faster. Now, my idea for this once I'm done, apart from it just being kind of an interesting thing to do and kind of focuses your attention on something. It's, don't touch the wet glue. Very important. And just kind of, you know, if I wasn't filming, I would just be quiet and just thinking about stuff and just focusing on what was happening while I'm doing all this silliness and just making art for art's sake, right? But since I'm talking to you, I could say what I was thinking of doing was making it kind of like a little texture piece, right? Almost like, I don't know if any one of you are familiar with worry stones or worry beads. You know, people, they get kind of worried about stuff or they get anxious, and, you know, any kind of like squeezy ball or even those widget things, those that were popular a couple of years ago. But it does help. And this has lots of different textures. It has the smooth texture of the erasers. That's kind of cool. And it has the rough texture of the sand. It also has matte colors of the erasers and sparkly colors of the not the sand, the glitter, right? And in the case of this one, this one has a smooth back. That one's going to have a textured back. So I'll have more textures to touch and to feel if I'm feeling anxious or nervous, like that. So that was my idea for this. Now, ideally, you want to make sure that you let the glue dry completely before you start brushing off the glitter, but like a cooking show, I didn't make a lot of these, so I'm just going to do it quick and give you an idea of what the finished product would look like. And sometimes, you know, with glue, you have these hot glue, you have these funny little spider webs that end up happening. You can leave them on there, or you can take them off, pick them off, whatever you like. Okay, so there's my other finished piece, but now I have these sort of like stars hanging off here. You could leave them hanging off because they could be pieces that you could touch, but the fact that this is foam and this is hot glue means that this is probably not going to be sticking on here a long time. So what I would do is I would just cut off, and that's what I did with the other one. I cut off the extra pieces so that I still have my original shape. There we go. Well, there we are. And I'm sure yours will come out much prettier because you'll have a lot more time to do it. But again, you've got a texture here. You've got texture in each little eraser. You've got texture in the glitter in between. And it looks pretty. It's all sparkly and colorful. So there's an idea. If you're at Target and you find yourself in the dollar section and you're thinking, what could I possibly do with these things? Here's something. Thanks for watching. Keep creating, and I'll see you soon.